everyone, welcome back to Maritime SoftwareHub, the People Hub podcast. Today I'm really excited to be joined in person by Dr. Beatriz Canamary. Today we're going to be talking about a range of topics, including sustainability, cross-sector collaboration and digital transformation in shipping. So first of all, welcome to our lovely studio here in Wesley Chapel in Tampa. Thank you for making the journey to come and see us. And yeah, I'd love it if you could please introduce yourself and tell us a bit about the projects you're working on.
All right. So I'm very excited to be here with you and discussing all the challenges we see in the maritime space. I hope we have a fun conversation and I can contribute to your channel. But speaking about my roles, I wear several hats, but they are all part of the same umbrella, I'd say, because my mission is only one, is to build a maritime system that is innovative, sustainable, resilient, and future ready. So I work with Seatrain. Seatrain is a new technology that is bringing a new way of cargo transportation, transporting cargo. I also lead Surety Strategy, which is mainly a consulting company that we build capacity and we build alignment and strategy within the organizations. And then there is Link Gen Z, which is a platform and a community hub for the young generation, Generation Z. And last one is I'm just getting engaged with the Floating Institute, which is a nonprofit organization, and I'm the chair of the Workforce Development and Innovation Committee. And it's more like a volunteer space.
Yeah, fascinating. I mean, a lot to digest there. How do you manage those different projects? You say they roll into one, which obviously is a big factor, but how do you typically manage your day in general?
Well, my day is pretty busy every day, but I can manage very well. I have people to help me and we work in teams. But if you look into those 4 different spaces, they all are like different routes to the same final point. Mm-hmm. And where I like to work, where I think the most transformation happens is exactly on the intersection of all those initiatives. So there is a lot of complexity within the maritime industry, and there is a lot of evolving learning experiences. So we have, my idea is to contribute to that in the best way I can.
Yeah, no, it's really, really interesting and similar for us on the recruitment side. So you may have seen, obviously, we specialize in the maritime software recruitment predominantly, but we also work with associated markets like the energy insights and commodity insight space. And a lot of them kind of feed into each other. So sometimes if we're hiring for one company, maybe we can try and pull in kind of talent from other sectors, and that generally helps kind of just cross ideas. And I know we're going to talk about that a little bit later, but it's great to have you on the show, and looking forward to discussing these topics with you.
Yes, let's go.
Yeah, no problem at all. Well, please bear with me. I will be reading from notes. We've got quite a few to go through. But in terms of you've grown and moved from a civil engineering background now into sort of the maritime tech and innovation kind of leadership space. So what was it that drew you into sort of the shipping in the maritime area?
Yeah, so my career has been very linear, to be honest. I'm a civil engineer, and I started my career as a civil engineer in several different type of segments within the civil engineering space. So I work with water systems, I work with transportation, energy, and then I end up in a steel company. And that was when I was in a consulting company. So I had this opportunity to go into several spaces within engineering. It was an engineering consulting company. After that, I started working for a steel company, steel mill. We were still building that company inside an industrial area that was connected to the port.
Okay.
And we were the anchors of this port. We were the industry anchor within this port ecosystem. So we were integrated with port operations, and that's what was my first step inside the port industry as a customer.
Yeah.
Later on, I moved to the port. So I was invited to be the director of engineering maintenance and lead the strategic projects from this port. And one of them was a joint venture between the port and the Port of Rotterdam, the Netherlands. They purchased chairs in this port, and I was leading this whole joint venture. So at that point, I had already realized that the challenges were not only technical, but they were systemic. They were systems, ecosystems challenges. Because we know ports, they are like those living organisms, those living systems that they are set into the intersection of so many different domains. We have energy, we have to deal with climate impact, climate changes, we have the energy sector, we have technology, we have operations, and plus ports, they are part of ecosystem that they are not only influenced by multiple stakeholders and institutions that regulate them, but also they influence those stakeholders and institutions.
Yeah.
So I realized that I had to come more from a technical point of view to a systemic way of seeing how the industry evolves. So at that time, I pursued a doctorate degree as well in business administration because I wanted to look over economics, finance, business strategy, marketing, operations management. And my final dissertation was into the U.S. port industry, looking into sustainability in the U.S. port industry.
Fascinating. And that's obviously driven you to start up and kind of work on some of the projects you're working on, like obviously Seas Train. Is that a big part? Were you already thinking about developing that while you were doing your studies, or was it already running?
No, I had already graduated when I started working for Seas Train. I graduated from a doctoral program in 2023.
Okay. Yeah.
It was a 4-year journey. So while I was there, I was also teaching at the university, and I was doing consulting with other companies.
Okay. And what was it kind of like the story behind starting up Sea Train? What was the main kind of motivator there?
Well, Sea Train, the idea of Sea Train was born over 3 years ago, and it was out of a frustration and a desire to solve systemic issues.
Okay.
So we looked into like global choke points, energy vulnerability. We looked into climate issues. We looked into carbon emissions. And instead of bringing incremental improvement, we went to a more bold vision, and we built this technology that it's submersible, autonomous, remotely operated, zero emissions because we don't operate under fuels.
Okay.
And it's modular by design. So with that, we are able to revolutionize the maritime transportation in a way that we can still. And the Sea Train doesn't not only serve ocean transportation, it also serves energy supply because we produce energy as well.
Okay.
And we can also serve the military industry.
So the Sea Train itself, how does it work? The businesses or kind of charterers, let's say, anyone that wants to move commodities around the world, do they kind of get in touch with you or your team and try and have a subscription, or how does it work?
No, it is a different type of vessel. So it's an equipment. It's a machine. And we are at this point, we already got 3 patents for this technology. Okay. We already got ABS feasibility technology approval. And now we are moving into the pilot demonstrator. So we are at this point, we're building alliances with tech suppliers, technology providers, with carriers also. Yeah. So we are building these partnerships to build this coalition to make it happen.
Yeah.
So we're moving to the pilot demonstration phase.
And what is there a particular region where maybe they might do some short-term voyages to start with, or certain coastal regions?
So the idea is to start with fuels, with petroleum, liquid bulk, and do more routes around the U.S.
And stupid question, it'll be on top of the water, it won't be submersible underneath the water. Is that correct?
It's submersible, yes.
Oh, it is, it's underneath the water.
Submersible, yes.
Okay, cool.
Underneath the water.
That's what I was thinking. That would be even more interesting because it sort of doesn't clog up, cause traffic and that type of thing.
Yes.
Very interesting. Okay, cool. Brilliant. And yeah, I guess another area we'll obviously look at is sustainability in shipping and ports as well. So in terms of what the projects you're working on, where do you see the topic of sustainability kind of fitting into what you're doing on the digital side, or even kind of the general maritime conversation we're hearing at the moment? Do you think it's, I know it's growing, but do you think it's obviously very prominent at the moment?
Well, I think sustainability is important. Sustainability matters. It is important, but it has to make economic sense, right? When we talk about sustainability in the maritime industry, we're not only talking about decarbonizing, but we are talking about economic development, industrial competitiveness. We are talking about job creation. We are talking about government funding, so that deals to public debt. So those are sustainability too, right? Those social sustainability and economic sustainability. So for sustainability to really make sense, it has to be it has to be cost effective, it has to be scalable, and has to be aligned with long-term values. So I do not see sustainability as just like a checklist, as a compliance exercise. We need to think at with this whole system operating and being sustainable in the long term, whether it's environmental, whether it's economic, whether it's social. And for that, of course, we need to have cross-sector alignment.
Yeah.
We need to work with institutions and governments, academia side, industries, to make it happen.
Are you seeing from the government side lots of initiatives coming out that are obviously very encouraging, or do you think there's a lot of room for growth there in that sort of area?
It varies, right? It varies from different nations, different countries, and sustainability will always have different timing, different pace in different regions. It all depends. Like you look, Europe is trying to shut down all the coal power plants. But if you look into developing economies, they need power, coal. They are investing in coal power plants because they need to survive. So that's where I see this economic logic also coming into effect.
Okay, no, that makes sense. Okay, good. And I guess in terms of opportunities then, where maybe that might have been not necessarily on the government side, just in general in maritime, either digitally or in other ways, are there any kind of opportunities you see are being overlooked, or maybe that should be have a bit more, or should emphasis shown on them a little bit more at the moment?
You mean in the maritime?
Yeah, I guess if we look at maritime, yeah.
I think in terms. Okay, let's look into innovation within, and when I talk about innovation, it's not only technology innovation. I think there is space to explore the boundaries of operational and physical infrastructure. So if you look into these, because today we look into maritime and there is a lot of, they are very siloed and based on rigid infrastructure or surface transportation. So looking into the sea train example, for instance, it's a new way of transporting cargo, but it's also another way of collecting data and dealing with critical routes that are impacted by those choke points. The other physical infrastructure, for instance, the floating economy. We're talking about floating economy. We're talking about new ways of providing infrastructure, offshore infrastructure. And today it's not only about wind power plants or LNG terminals. We are going way beyond that. We're having floating ports. We are having floating infrastructure that are mission driven. We even have floating schools now. There is a project for a floating city in Japan because it's a way of dealing with climate events.
Okay.
So those examples are part of like a more adaptive and flexible system, and that's where I think opportunities are. We can identify new opportunities, but also I think there is a huge opportunity inside data interoperability. So we need systems that can engage and that be more cross-sector connected and integrated. So integration within those tech systems is what we need. And finally, we need innovation in the workforce. We need people that are talented enough to deal with those systemic changes. And because if we don't have people that are able to think in have a system thinking in a way of integrating all those, we're not able to scale innovation. So I think those are the main points about how the spaces that I see inside in the maritime industry.
Yeah. So funny enough, this morning we had another podcast guest, and they're called a business called Sail Timer, based in Canada, and they essentially kind of provide weather routing insights and voyage optimization, and they speak with a whole different range of weather data providers and things. And a lot of their data sources comes from crowdsourced, so it's from the actual kind of vessels themselves, as opposed to kind of like fixed buoys and physical, I guess, sort of data emitters, sensors and things. So have you heard of the whole idea of kind of crowdsourcing as a way of kind of providing data before, or is that a new concept?
No, it's interesting. I know about crowdsourcing and I know about data, but always the combination of things. But again, always have to be, anyone that is investing in the maritime industry has always need to have that mindset of operating into a big system. It's such a large ecosystem, and there's so many stakeholders being impacted by those initiatives that we need to have that system thinking approach.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And again, getting influence and ideas from other sectors can also be really, really important. And in terms of like the individuals themselves. So you've obviously worked with hundreds of students, obviously from your teaching days and your courses, and also the business side. So what do you think the emerging leaders in the maritime space are looking for, like in terms of either personnel or projects, that type of thing?
So what they are looking for is visibility and impact. They need to be part of, they want to be part of solving systemic issues, global systemic issues. They are not looking for job titles anymore.
Yeah.
They want to have purpose, right? But what we need are those leaders that are able to take decisions and navigate into a complexity industry, into complexity, vulnerability, ambiguity, and deal with volatility. So we need people that are creative and being able to adapt to these changes, because there are changes all the time.
Yeah.
So that's where part of my work goes into that, building skills that are not only technical, but they have leadership skills, that they have systems thinking skills, that they are able to connect their ambitions with real global impact.
Yeah.
That they're able to connect digitalization with operational reality too. So those connections that I think it's what we really need. That expertise is what we really need in the maritime industry for now.
Yeah, and we're seeing it from a hiring perspective. As soon as we start speaking and reaching out to candidates, let's say, we talk about kind of businesses that are helping reduce, as you mentioned, carbon, like if it's a carbon intelligence company, or helps, even a vessel performance management company that helps reduce emissions at sea and things. It really sparks people interested. They think that they're a part of something that's making an impact. Yeah. And I think that's really important, and it's becoming more and more popular, definitely.
Yeah.
If the kind of more junior to mid-level people feel like they're part of something, not just another sales hire type of thing, trying to make revenue type of thing. So I agree completely.
Yes. Yeah. Like I said, maritime is such a complex industry that we have legacy systems. We already have, it's a very lot of regulations to deal with. Also, we have those fragmented actors that I call. So it is easy to get discouraged in this industry, but at the same time, where there is complexity, there is a lot of opportunity, right? So, bringing this awareness vision and this systemic vision, it's what we need to make this industry continue evolving and continue succeeding in improving.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And the one of the big projects you're working on, which you talked about earlier, is the kind of the floating institute. So do you want to, was that a little bit about what you mentioned earlier when people are offshore in Japan, the schools, is that a similar thing or is that a different type of project?
So the Floating Institute is a nonprofit organization.
Okay.
So I joined this team few weeks ago. We've been talking for a while, and the floating economy is about how we, like I said, how we are redesigning the offshore infrastructure. But my work within the floating economy is I'm chair of the Innovation and Workforce Development Committee. And the idea is to develop talents for the maritime industry, and also have this global dialogue, because the institution is global, and we're just building it up. We're going to grow this organization because we want to have a global outreach.
Yeah, no, it sounds very, very interesting. And in terms of the if you look at the universities broadly and courses on offer at the moment, do you think there's enough focus in this area about kind of the new alternative ways of providing kind of living or options for people in the future? It's very new.
No, and that's something that I am just getting so annoyed about because I want to start bringing those not only to the universities but also to the schools, because we need to prepare leaders for the future. Maritime is an industry that evolves, and we deal with 90% of the global trade through ports, through the ocean transportation. So we need to be always preparing those leaders for the future. So bringing the floating economy concept into not only universities but to the schools, it's just a very smart way of preparing the future generation that will take care of all these assets and these businesses in the future.
Yeah, no, it sounds fascinating, and yeah, I'd like to learn more about it. Okay, so I guess in terms of career paths, let's say for people that when you're teaching or that you've come across over the years in the digital side of shipping, do you see that there are enough opportunities for people, and or maybe there's certain areas that people should focus more on? Do you think going forward?
I think critical areas that we could look at are like digital twin designers, cybersecurity experts, decarbonization intelligence. I think port call optimization operators. So I think all those that we integrate digital solutions with operational reality are roles that the industry will need in the future. Not only in the future, but now.
Yeah. No, good. Yeah, and certainly we try and play our part in creating opportunities for people, and whenever we see really exceptional people, we try and encourage them towards like either a technical type of role in shipping or similar. So yeah, it's lots of opportunities, I think, coming forward, and hopefully in associated markets like I mentioned.
Yes, but we have to, bringing that young generation to this reality is where the really challenge relies on, because this new generation they just want things easy. Right. They want to, but at the same time, they're just so concerned about their future, what they're going to do. They are scared about all this technology taking over every job, and they don't have any other opportunities. And in the maritime industry, that's not our reality. We do have technology to be more productive. Yeah. We need technology to be more productive, more efficient. But we need people with creativity, with critical thinking, with smart ways of taking decisions, combining leadership skills, like I said, with the technology that's already there.
Yeah. and the ability to be able to kind of articulate the value of technology if it's being used, especially if it's in terms of maybe to a captain or with regards to a certain voyage they recommend, that type of thing. That sort of analysis skills combined with sort of persuasion and just general personality, kind of social skills is really important, I think.
Yes, that's true. So we cannot treat technology as only a tech challenge. We need to look at as a coordination challenge. So if we bring technology to embed those into critical decisions, strategic decisions within the organization, of course, we'll have much more value to create for businesses.
Yeah, no, good. Okay, so I guess we covered a lot so far already in terms of different areas we were going to talk about. But in terms of your the hope and kind of the positive outlook for the maritime industry, are there anything in particular that really kind of excites you?
Well, I'm biased. I'm fascinated about the maritime industry. So it's a very, like I said, it's such a complex industry that I see so many opportunities there. And it is a continuous improvement, evolving process. There's been a while since maritime became not only the back office of global trade, but now we are the forefront. We are the main actors of addressing climate issues, of dealing with geopolitical issues as well, right? Dealing with technology, dealing with cargo, global trade, digitalization. So because of that, we are into this position of making change. Not only that, but also national security, nation's sovereignty. So we are involved in all those different domains.
Yeah.
That there is a lot to be done and a lot to learn as well.
Yeah, and it's very much, so I came from a shipbroking family. My grandfather was a broker, my mum was a broker. So I've always been excited by the industry because you can essentially build a reputation and then people get to know you, and it's a very much a close knit kind of community, the maritime, even though it's obviously completely global and things. So it's a good industry that is perhaps obviously a little behind other like fintech and other sort of spaces. There's a lot of growth there and exciting opportunities to people. So I think if someone wants to really kind of take advantage of a company that's now getting a lot of investment and interest from all different types of people around the world, it's a great time to get involved, I think.
Yes, it is. It always will be.
Awesome. Cool. Okay, good. So I guess in terms of if anybody wants to reach out to you in relation to any of the things we talked about today, or just to talk about different projects you're working on, what's the best way for them to do so?
Well, the fastest way is LinkedIn. I'm always connected on LinkedIn, and I respond fast. But if people want to go further, you can also email me, go to my website, Share Strategy Group.
Okay.
And get connected with me by email. But LinkedIn is definitely a very easy way to reach out.
Yeah, excellent. Good. Well, obviously we'll share your details and things in the show notes. And I think aside from the business, like I'd love to learn a bit more about you as a person and what type of things you like to get up to when you do have a bit of free time and outside of work.
Yes, I am kind of the workaholic type of person. I love what I do. So the more I do, the more I want to do. But I'm a day person, so I love going to the beach, coming here to Tampa once in a while.
Yeah.
I'm a Brazilian, so having this connection with the ocean is very important for me. But I also have I have triplets. They are 21 years old now. Wow. It's one boy and two girls. And, when we have time together, we have a lot of fun. And sometimes I like to do my workouts, part of my routine, doing exercise, my body. I'm exercising my mind as well. Yeah. So that's like a religion for me. So a lot of
Yeah, and excellent. It's really interesting to pick up on the Brazil background, and we're seeing a lot of people, even sorry to go back to the discussion, but technology as well. It seems to be really growing in people's places like Sao Paulo and Rio de Janeiro. I don't know whether it's to be closer to the kind of the main suppliers and the source, whether that's something you're seeing as well, or is it just has it always been like that? Maybe I'm just more aware of it now that I live in the States. I don't know.
No, you're right. After I moved here, so I live here more than almost 7 years. And after I moved here, I got really connected with the U.S. space, the U.S. industry. Brazil, I do more. It's more personal relationship. I visit my family, my parents, all the time. But in terms of businesses, there are some businesses that I try to go further and to develop and to help, but it's been very, very difficult, and especially now. And so there are a lot of opportunities. Brazil is an amazing country. We have a lot of spaces to grow there, but we need to break some cultural aspects.
Okay.
I am trying to be this vehicle, right?
Yeah.
Because I have Brazilian culture in my blood and also the American culture in my living. But we have a lot of opportunities to make these connections, but I don't have specifically any project in Brazil right now.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it even at places like Colombia as well. Mexico, people outsource their development teams and on a customer support side, we're finding people that are a bit closer to the end users in terms of technologies and refineries and things. So, yeah, it's a real space that we're watching closely, and maybe hopefully we'll do a bit of travel out there at some point. And I've never been to Brazil.
Oh yeah, so you're invited to go. I live the place I live in Brazil is on the east coast, northeast coast.
Okay, is it like Recife or around the area, or
it's Fortaleza. It's on the northeast, very close to from my city to Miami, for instance. It's just like a 6-hour flight.
Oh wow!
Easy to get there. And we have a huge port there. Like I said, Port of Rotterdam is a shareholder on this port. They hold 30% of the shares, and they are developing this huge hydrogen hub there, but still in very early stages.
Okay. All right. Fascinating. Well, thank you so much for coming in, literally for driving down. I really appreciate you making the effort, and I hope all our listeners, I'm sure they have, got real value from your insights. So, yeah, please do reach out to Beatriz if you have any questions. But for now, thanks for tuning in, and thank you again for taking the time to speak to me.
Well, I appreciate you inviting me for this conversation, because I am, like I said, my mission is to make all these changes happen. And everyone who reaches out to me, I'm always open to have conversations and learn and build things together. I believe in partnerships. I believe in cooperation, and that's how I built my career up to now.
Yeah, excellent. Good. Well, we very much echo those thoughts. So, yeah, thank you very much, everyone, and we'll speak again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.